Be honest with yourself. There's someone you no longer speak to, yet their name keeps circling through your thoughts. Their face appears in your mind at random moments, as if it never left. Even when you try to keep busy, they quietly find their way back. No calls, no messages, no contact at all, yet somehow they still occupy space in your heart. It's confusing, isn't it? Part of you wonders, if I can't forget them, does that mean destiny is trying to bring us together? Another part quietly asks, or is it just me? My own emotions, refusing to move on. The longer it happens, the heavier it feels, because you can't tell if it's a sign to hold on or a sign to finally let go. So what does it really mean when someone stays in your thoughts even when they're gone? Is it your inner self pulling you back, or is there a greater reason behind it? The truth is, our minds tend to hold onto people long after communication ends. Sometimes it's because the story never had a real ending. Maybe there was a plan, a promise, or a bond that faded without closure. The human heart struggles when chapters are left unfinished. Other times, it's the small memories that bring them back, passing by a place you once visited together, hearing their name unexpectedly, or finding yourself in a quiet moment where they suddenly come to mind. And you ask yourself, why this person? Why now? It's because our hearts are built to attach. When you've cared for someone deeply, your mind doesn't simply erase them like deleting a file. Instead, it replays their presence, especially when you're alone. That's when the confusion sets in. You start to think, if they are still in my thoughts after all this time, could it mean I'm meant to be with them? Or is it just my own heart refusing to let go? Sometimes, when someone remains in your mind, it's not because a higher plan is sending you a message. It's simply your own emotions holding on to what once was. The heart loves to replay what it once desired, even when it no longer serves you. Think about it. When you've longed for someone, your mind replays their image the same way your heart replays the dream. Not because it's destiny, but because it was once deeply wanted. When things end without closure, when no final goodbye was given, your mind struggles with that unfinished business. It circles back, trying to rewrite what was left undone. Other times, it's pure imagination. You start wondering, what if things had been different? What if we had tried harder? What if it was really meant to be? But those thoughts don't mean it's a sign. They mean your heart still hasn't made peace with reality. And this can be dangerous. Those lingering thoughts can hold you in place, keeping you tied to the past, while life continues to move forward. But not every thought is just emotion. Sometimes, there is a deeper purpose. At times, a person remains in your heart not because you're meant to return to them, but because the experience is meant to guide you closer to faith. A name stays in your thoughts so that you pray for clarity, so that you seek direction before acting, so that your confusion becomes a reason to grow spiritually. Other times, it's a test, a moment designed not to lead you back to that person, but to teach you how to let go with grace and trust that every attachment has its purpose and its time. Sometimes a person stays in your thoughts, not because you're meant to chase them, but because you're meant to learn where your heart truly rests. Do you let that thought take over, or do you hand it back with trust? And sometimes, it's preparation. A person may be placed in your heart as a way of softening you, teaching you patience, or shaping you before the right time comes, even if they were never meant to stay. The Prophet said, "The hearts of all people are between the hands of the most merciful. He turns them as He wills. Your heart isn't wandering on its own. Even your attachments are under divine control. So yes, sometimes when a person stays in your thoughts, it's more than just a memory. But how do you know if it's really guidance or just your emotions holding on? That's where balance comes in. There's a difference between obsession and guidance, and that difference changes everything. Obsession pulls you away from faith. You can sense it when your thoughts about them make prayer harder, focus weaker, and your heart heavier. It's the kind of thought that drains your energy and leaves you feeling guilty afterward. That's not guidance. That's your own desires keeping you trapped. But guidance feels completely different. When a person is placed in your heart by divine wisdom, the thought doesn't drown you. It redirects you. It makes you whisper quiet prayers in the night. It encourages you to seek clarity through prayer instead of chasing imagination. It doesn't paralyze you. It humbles you. The prophet said, "Ask your heart. Righteousness is what brings peace to the soul, and sin is what makes the heart uneasy." That's the test. If the thought makes you restless, unsettled, and distant from faith, it isn't from Him. But if it brings calm, patience, and a pull toward Him, then maybe it's more than just emotion. That's why faith gives us a way to handle these thoughts, not by chasing them, but by turning them into prayer and trust. So what should you do when someone keeps living in your mind? The first step is simple. Don't chase it. Don't convince yourself that constant thoughts are secret signals from above. And don't build a future in your imagination around someone who isn't part of your present. That only deepens the wound. Instead, redirect it. Every time their name comes to mind, take it to prayer. Turn the thought into a request. If this person is good for my faith, my life, and my future, bring them closer with ease. And if they're not, remove them from my heart gently. That way, even your pain becomes an act of devotion. And remember, trust is more than prayer. It's also wisdom. That's why the prophet taught us to seek advice. Talk to those who love you and want what's best for you. Combine prayer with counsel so you don't get lost in your own emotions. The rest isn't your burden to carry. If it's meant for you, the path will open in ways you never expected. And if it's not, you'll be healed and given something far better. Trust means you no longer need to carry the what-ifs. You give them back to the one who already wrote your story. So, what does it mean when someone stays in your mind, even without communication? In the end, it's not a test of love. It's a test of the heart. Will you let it consume you, or will you hand it back with trust? When a person lingers in your thoughts, it doesn't always mean they're meant for you. It means your heart is being tested to see whether you'll surrender it or cling to it. That's the real lesson. Your heart is never abandoned. The one who made it knows the names you whisper in silence. He knows the person you can't seem to forget. He knows the weight of your quiet longing. And He promises that nothing you surrender to Him is ever lost. If it's written, it will come together in ways you could never arrange. And if it's not, you'll be healed. The ache will fade, and you'll be given something better for your faith, your life, and your future. Either way, you win, because no one who places their trust in Him is ever left empty. So when their thought returns, don't chase it and don't fear it. Turn it into prayer instead. If this person is good for me, bring them closer. If not, remove them from my heart. If these words touched you, write that prayer below. Maybe someone will say, "Amen" to yours, and you'll say, "Amen" to theirs. Until then, Protect your heart and keep it in peace.